From the voice of Honest Trailers, it's Epic Voice Reviews, and read your comments at the end. When New York City is infested with spirits from beyond, only 4 people have what it takes to save the world. In a reboot filled with cameos and nods to the original, practical effects replaced with CGI like we didn't see that coming, and way too much scientifical-sounding gobbledygook. A halfway decent movie if you use that memory eraser thingy for Men in Black on yourself to forget everything you know about Ghostbusters. My 10-year-old thought it was hilarious, proving that the side gags were aimed mainly at kids, even though it's a PG-13 movie.
Okay, it was pretty entertaining, which really surprised me because it didn't look great based on the trailers. But, I mean, I enjoyed the cameos and the references to the original, including during and after the credits. There was even a reference to the animated series with the final form of the villain at the end. But there was so much scientific just jargon, and it was just so slow in places, and it dragged on. In fact, it felt like it ended like 3 or 4 times. My wife and I kept looking, it's like, okay, is this the end? Is it over yet? Is this the end? Hemsworth doesn't really play stupid all that well. That's just my personal opinion. He just doesn't look like he's as dumb as he acts in this movie. The main cast wasn't bad at all. I mean, I had no problem with them doing females for the lead characters, and they're all funny people, and I thought that they were probably the funniest part of the film as far as the actual jokes and humor went. But most of the side gags and the vomiting slime and stuff, I mean, it was obviously aimed at my sons and my daughter's ages, which are like really, really young. There was no actual ghost busting until halfway through the movie. I thought they could have got to that a little bit quicker. And it all ended with another giant portal in the sky, which has been done to death. Come on, with enough with the portals in the sky. It wasn't as good as the original, obviously, but it wasn't terrible on its own.
3 stars. I can't believe I actually liked it a little bit. Didn't regret seeing it in theaters. Ghostbusters, rated PG-13. In New York City, again, where everyone has a pet apparently, comes the story of a dog who is scared he's being replaced by another dog, so he schemes to get rid of him. It's basically Toy Story with animals, full of adorable pets and plenty of kid-friendly humor. But unlike Zootopia, they actually show the buttholes. What's the point of that again?
Bottom line, it was cute and kids will love it.
A 4-star family film. The Secret Life of Pets, rated PG. When 2 con artists crash a wedding but end up falling for their dates, you basically get another Wedding Crashers movie. They even reference the Wedding Crashers movie in this movie, but it's actually really funny. My wife and I laughed our butts off. The funniest comedy of 2016 so far.
It had a great cast. They were freaking hilarious. The outtakes during the credits cracked me up even more than the movie did. It was great humor. It was my brand of humor. It's the kind of stuff that I laugh at. Any movie that you can quote after the film is over with is, in my opinion, a great movie. And I really loved it. I don't know why it didn't do as well as it did, because it was a really funny movie. In fact, I think it's the funniest movie I've seen this year.
4.5 stars. A must-see. Don't miss Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. Rated R. When an orphan child is kidnapped by an old man and dragged into the land of giants, they will catch dreams and shoot them into people's ears with a blowgun? What? Okay, this movie just doesn't make any sense. It's Polar Express meets Jack and the Beanstalk, but weirder. Full of fart jokes and not much else. What happened to you, Spielberg?
What happened? I think for me, I always associate, like, when he started off with, like, Duel and Jaws and stuff like that, he was, like, the rebel. He was, like, the new Hitchcock. He was doing all this cool stuff. And then somewhere, like, I think pretty quickly, he kind of got into making, like, just big kid films. Like, they're films that are, you know, but it's not bad. But he sort of went from this rebel to, like, sort of this whimsical style, and he got into producing a lot of, like,
but big kids
stuff.
Films with, like, scorpions and stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, the stuff that's, like, not technically supposed to be for kids, but kids watched it and loved it, and that's what they loved about it, that
like
they could
when
be kind of
giant computer-animated ants eat a Nazi?
Again, before that.
We're pre-Crystal Skull, man.
And then I think when we got, and then he became, like, the blockbuster guy. You go to see, like, these big blockbusters, big special effects, and became kind of the most he went from being, like, sort of the underground, ooh, what's this guy doing, to, like, the big mainstream guy. And I feel like he wanted to become the artist again when he did, like, AI and Minority Report, and he just kind of wanted to imitate. Yeah, he wanted to imitate Kubrick. Like, everything's like, what would Kubrick do? And he just kept doing that. But he's not Kubrick, and, you know, he still wanted to get that whimsical stuff in there. And they went through, like, this art house period thing, which I didn't see a lot of them. But yeah, then we got War Horse, which I get the feeling he's doing films now, even if you don't see them, you feel like you saw them. Like, everyone feels like they saw War Horse, even if they didn't see it. Everybody feels like they saw the BFG, even if they didn't see it. I just get feeling like everybody feels like, oh yeah, like, I don't need to see it because I know exactly what happens.
I saw where the wild things are. Thank you.
So that's kind of my take.
I don't completely disagree. My only thing is, I think he's just entering that stage in his career where he's like, I'll do what I want. I'm Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, he's kind of earned it, to be fair.
Yeah, like, so there are people just like, oh my god, like, what happened to you? But I'm like, he's had, like, a 30-year-long career, and, like, we're complaining now that near the end, like, he's kind of doing things that he kind of wants. I'm like, dude, you give us this many movies, like, okay, if it's been pretty solid up until Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and you look at how old he is now and how long he's been making movies, I'm like, he could tap out right now, and I'd be like, still, you're good. Boom.
Even as a producer, he has so many.
Yeah.
films.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, I think it's just like with many artists, because I mean, he's had, like you said, a 30-year career. I mean, you know, and it's like a challenge of like keeping up with what's relevant can, you know, factor into it. But I mean, with someone like Spielberg, he's had time to like kind of, you know, find his style, and now he kind of wants to, you know, just, you know,
Goes to Spielberg. Dude.
Spielberg just closed the door.
I am sorry.
We'll find out later.
We have
Spielberg
angered.
died right at that point.
We have angered his
he's left the building.
I think
Wow.
he's great.
You
Tamara loves
have chosen
everything.
poorly.
But yeah, like I mean, I think he's, you know, deserved to just kind of like, you know, try things out and, you know, do whatever he wants. I'm interested in seeing what he does with the BFG, because I enjoyed that book.
You guys are in for such a sad surprise.
I was gonna say, like, about keeping relevant too, is like so many things have changed since he started out, and not that he can't keep up, but like maybe just the challenge of keeping up is kind of weird. But the BFG doesn't look good.
He is. This
This is part of my review, and sadly, these guys haven't seen it yet. They're all in for such a
Yeah,
But
I have
even just
no
like it
idea.
again. Oh, hold on. But one thing I gotta say, like on Game of Thrones, they have a giant on there, and
Yeah.
he looks like he's really there because he is really there. It's a guy in
Yeah.
makeup, and then they just use CG to make him bigger.
And
with
that's
this,
awesome.
yeah, and it looks really, really good and convincing. With this, it's clearly a cartoon, and I
should have
feel like
been.
I feel like this is about 10 years behind because this is sort of like with what Zemeckis was doing with like Christmas Carol and Polar Express and stuff, and these aren't popular anymore. So to kind
And
of
that's
try and
how
do these
Crystal
films
Skull
now-
felt. 10
Yeah.
years behind. Whereas Raiders was 10 years ahead. This was 10 years behind.
I have a giant crush on Shia LaBeouf, so I thought Crystal Skull was.
No. You're a terrible choice for my son. Well, my problem was that it feels like it's lost its charm. It used to be so. His movies used to be exciting and it had an adventure. And I'm talking about kids' movies like E.T. and Goonies.
True.
And this movie was so slow and full of fart jokes, and that's like, I mean, come on. Spielberg is better than fart jokes.
Let's keep one thing in mind though. That even, and I will defer to you because I have not seen the movie. Even if BFG sucks ass,
It blows ass.
even if it both sucks and blows ass, we're still talking about one really bad movie. And I know even if people are just like, well, I didn't like that much of War Horse or the Tom Hanks spy.
I think I
thrillers,
saw
this and
War
that.
Horse. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. They're still competently made films. I'm still looking at this like, that's still a
True.
step ahead of a lot of other directors functioning right now.
Yeah, I hope he hasn't Lucased. I mean, did you guys see Strange Magic? It was I can't believe they were like
Yes, yeah.
from LucasArts. Like, no, don't put that on there.
No, I liked
saying a Shyamalan
LucasArts.
movie.
Yeah. I liked LucasArts back in the day.
All right. So, lastly, favorite Spielberg movie.
Somebody else go. I got to.
Raiders. It is always Raiders for me. Raiders of the Lost Ark is like a perfect film.
I agree. I think Raiders is my favorite.
I like Raiders too, but I gotta go Goonies because Raiders ended up.
That's
It ended up Crystal Skull.
Yeah, it's not like Goonies.
He did
Mr.
not do
that.
Critic to the studs.
But it is one of his movies, though.
yeah, produced.
did produce?
Oh, in terms of like produced movies, are we?
And Spielberg either produced or directed.
Oh man. Oh crap. You go. I still can't think.
Okay, now that you're mentioning like, produced films, if we're, kind of, combining that, then I have to go with Goonies if that's the case.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll say Jurassic Park. That's the
Oh,
film
yeah,
I saw
that's
the
a
most
good choice.
times in the theater as a kid. I think I saw it like 13 times. I think.
I've seen that.
Jurassic Park would be up there for me, but I still go. Like, I think Raiders is the better.
And to me, maybe
Still.
like Last Crusade, like a close second, and then like maybe Raiders. I like Last Crusade a little bit.
See,
more.
my problem with Jurassic World and or Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones is that they all had sequels that ended up being terrible.
You didn't like
So,
Last Crusade?
you don't
No, I'm not talking about Last Crusade.
Oh, I was going to say later. Okay.
You don't
But the film
punish the
itself-
trailblazer for the fact that, or the father for the
That's
fact that his
true.
kids are fucks up.
I know, but I mean,
You don't say
like,
Jaws
Goonies-
sucks because we got Jaws 4 out of it.
Goonies was awesome, and then they didn't do anything else with it. It ended on an awesome note. And now the other ones, you remember the good one, but then you also instantly think of the bad one.
I don't know. Crystal
Because
Skull.
I mean, seriously, if you ask younger kids now when you sing Indiana Jones, the first thing they think of is Crystal Skull.
I will not punish the first generation for successive
sins of the-
generations of
Wait,
failure.
aren't
The sins of the children.
they making a new Indiana Jones with Chris Pratt as Indiana?
I don't know. I think
That's
that was
a rumor.
That's a
Yeah.
rumor.
Yeah, the next one's just going to be him sitting in a senior citizen center. I belong in a museum.
Get off my lawn.
Indiana Jones and the Wheel of Fortune.
You haven't gone yet.
Yeah, Raiders.
Raiders.
That's
Okay.
I love that.
Raiders wins.
It's so good.
I tried to make it easier by adding in producer credits too. Everybody's like, "No, Raiders, darn it!" Oh, well. Thank you guys for being on.
That's
No problem.
You guys have an awesome channel. Get it?
Freeze frame.
2 stars. Your very young children will think it's hilarious. Big Farting Giant, rated PG. When Sam Jackson and a stereotypical hot guy head to the jungle to stop a stereotypical James Bond villain, you get The Legend of Tarzan, where the legend is told in flashbacks that looks more like a live-action remake of the Disney movie, but with more violence and language.
No, I liked it better than I thought I would. I honestly thought it was great. Another Tarzan movie. Geez, what are they going to do different? It was more like a sequel, including the original story as flashbacks, which I didn't have a problem with. I mean, it did look really weird with him wandering around with like capri shorts on or whatever, but it felt very Disney-like. I mean, it feels like they ripped off the Disney animated version of the story. In fact, like verbatim in some scenes. I mean, it wasn't awesome, but it wasn't terrible either. It was pretty standard story, but it was still entertaining.
3.5 stars. Definitely worth a Redbox rental. The Legend of Tarzan, rated PG-13. The Purge is in danger of ending with a new presidential election coming, and the government has changed the rules to kill the competition. It's basically Olympus Has Fallen. I mean, it felt like a sci-fi movie of the week where it didn't totally suck, but it just lost what the first film had.
It felt more like a commercial for Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios than an actual movie. I think it's kind of run its course. It was just meh. I mean, I think you'll like it if you're a fan of the Purge series, but otherwise it just kind of feels like a sci-fi B-rated kind of movie of the week.
3 stars. Redbox it. The Purge election year. Rated R. Please support this channel at patreon.com/epicvoiceguy. And now it's time for your comments. Well, boys, I reckon this is it. Captain Tapatio, the first hot sauce. Dexter Morgan gonna kill Jon Snow. From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. You feel your sins crawling on your back. Sir, finishing this fight. And this is to go even further beyond. If you like this video, share it and click subscribe. Click here for more epic voice reviews. Click here for more imitation gaming videos.